Well, hi and welcome to my shop where I'm working on the Philco 91X and I'm checking all the tube voltages right now. Just finished the power supply tube number 80 and two output tubes numbers 42 in a push-pull configuration, and so far those voltages have checked out fine. I'm filling out my little chart here. It shows all the different tubes. And I'm putting the readings in here. Now the radio works, so there's a good chance all these readings are going to be fine. So we're just trying to determine now which tube is which. Let's see a little volume here. That's a little easier said than done here. So I'm going to look for a telltale sign that's going to prove to me which tube is which. So I know the type 44s that I'm looking for. One is here, one is there, and one is grid connected to an IF can. The other one is grid connected to a RF coil and the antenna. Now, oddly enough, the antenna connection is made way down here. This is the red wire. It goes way down here on the other side of the radio. I'm not sure if you can see that at all, but there's a fan shock clip, and I just got this red wire clipped in, and that's the antenna. Way down in the wrong territory. It's quite confusing to me why they would do that. So either engineers didn't know what they were doing back then and did something stupid, or I just don't know something. I think I'll go for the second choice. I don't know something about this radio. So the grid on the 44, well, that's the cap. Oh, well. Okay, hello everybody. I'm just waking up here, I guess. So in fact, all three of these tubes in a row are grid capped tubes. And, one's coming out of an RF coil, the other one is a just go silent while I think about this. I think this one is the it's very sensitive. It's definitely a 44. Okay, well, let's go with this guy. You know, in the end, if I have them mixed up but the voltage readings are okay, what does it matter anyway? At this point, it doesn't really matter. So I got to identify the heaters. Okay, I think these guys are the heaters here. So this will be the plate. Just double check my voltmeter here. Yep. Excuse me. Heater. I can't see my own meter here. Oh, maybe I don't have it right. Very hard to see up in here. Okay. Well, that certainly sounds like 4. That would be the cathode, according to my understanding right now. Yeah, I don't think that's the cathode. Kind of doubt it. Well, probably I'm detuning something terribly when I do this. Or my meter is low enough impedance, I'm just grounding out the signal. Okay, so if that guy's the plates, and then these two are the heaters. 2, this would be 3. Okay, wait a minute. Two, 3, 4. That 4 should be grid number 2. So I'll write these down: 375 and 83. Cathode would be this guy, 2. And on the cap, minus 0.25. Okay, the other 44 something doesn't look right here. Something doesn't look right. I'm thinking a couple tubes are in the wrong sockets. And for the life of me, I can't see the right there, look at this. Okay, so that's a 44, a 44, and a 37. And it should be 44, 37, 44. And that's based on this diagram right here. It's a little hard for you to see, but here they are. It's an actual photograph. But when I look at these tubes, I see these two look identical. This one looks a little different. And this says 44 right on it. This one, I haven't been able to find the numbering on it. So could it be that tube's in the wrong sockets? I think the short answer is sure. I can't find any numbers on these. Okay, I think there's a remnants of some markings on this one. Or is it just dirt? Okay, I think what we'll do is we'll shut the set off at this point. And, you know, hey, maybe that should have been square one. Make sure the right tubes are in the right sockets. That sounds like a basic thing, doesn't it? But I didn't do that. this radio has not been touched. Nobody's put fingers on these tubes for a long time. The amount of dust that was on this, it was completely undisturbed. So, if the tubes are in the wrong sockets, they've been in there for a long, long, long time. Just pull one out. You know, not very warm. So, take off this grid cap here. Just as I've seen other people comment, or in their videos, taking off these grid caps is a little bit perilous because they tend to stick. They haven't been moved in so many years. Some of them, when you turn them one way, they kind of loosen their grip, and you turn them the other way, and they kind of gain their grip. You know, no different than a pair of channel locks, if you know what I mean. That kind of wrench. Here we go. I got this one loose, and now I really want to take a look at this. Yeah, I don't want to pry against the glass tube. I want to pry against the cap. So a good thing in this one, I can get the screwdriver in like that. I just pop this guy off. That's got to be loose enough to pull off. Okay. Pull them out. Likewise, I want to pry a little bit here. I don't want to pull on the glass tube. The power is off. Yes, the power is off. This tube isn't seated all the way either. Isn't that another hint? Hey, you know what? Neither of these two tubes are seated all the way. That's... my Sherlock Holmes head says, hey, the same guy did it. So here's the tube. 36. Oh, that's okay, it's the right tube. Put that back in. Seat it down a little lower. Put the grid cap back on. Just take out the other one, might as well. There it is. Oh, there's the number up there, I think. General Electric. Oh, it's got some writing on it. But doesn't seem to make any sense to me. I found sometimes you have to look so hard for the name on tubes. You have to get the light just right. And I know there's other things people do with steam and their breath and everything else. I certainly don't want to wipe these off when I don't know where the labeling is. Well, I think we're going to have to go on faith, because I cannot see. Sometimes they write, oh, look at the base is cracked there, eh? Sometimes they write it on the base, but not on this one either. Okay, we're out of luck. Put that guy back in and seat him right down. Put the cap back on. Switch on the radio. Just chase down another non-problem. Bring it up on full power. Don't know what would happen if you switch those two tubes. If the set would still work or just not work well. They're just triodes. No, they're not. They've got control grid and screen grid. But both the 44 and the 36 have that. Maybe you could swap them around without too much trouble. Wouldn't recommend it, that's for sure. So now we know for sure that's 144. This is the other one here, no doubt about it. Let's give it a test. You can see the pins nice and clear on this one. I got my meter turned down to 20 volts there, and it didn't do too good. No high voltage on this tube. That didn't sound too good. Okay, so here's definitely, these are the heater wires here. Heater's there. So on the 44, excuse me, on the 44, pin 2, which is this guy, he's showing us nothing. But you know, when I touch the cap on this, I don't get anywhere. The grid cap. Hey, why don't we read the grid cap too? Put on 2-volt scale. About the same as the other one, about 1/4 volt. Minus 1/4 volt. Minus 1/4 volt. And now I'll record these now that I'm pretty convinced of what I've got here. Hey, tiny voltage. Let's put this up at 200. 1.1. .1 volts on the plate. Sounds a little low to me. Too many things in my hand here. 85 on the screen grid. That's correct. Or at least it's matching the other 44. I keep writing it in the wrong spot on my sheet here. This guy here, cathode 2.2, seems to match the other two. Now we'll do the 36 in the middle. There's the heater, so this will be plate. Looks like that's got plate voltage properly. 391. Grid 2, 85. Cathode 5. It looks just fine, doesn't it? So let me record those. $392. $85. And what was that? Cathode, let's see. 1, 2, 3, this one. 5 volts, which is it really represents the biasing of the grid. Assuming this has got a cathode resistor. achieve that. And the cap. Hey, it makes the radio work better. Cap is showing 0. Oh no, there we go. How's that work? How did that work? It's showing 0, which may or may not be just fine. Okay, so this is showing something bad here on the 44 over here. I'm going to double check that because it's so critical. Heater 2. Yeah. Jeez, I did that with my meter set to 2 volts. Okay, so pin 2, plate, nothing. Well, that's probably why the performance of this radio is so poor. I mean, it's working, but wow, it's not too good. On to the next one, which is the detector rectifier. And that's a tube number 37. Look at the diagram here. Try not to stick this in the back of the radio. This one shows there's 2 37s. Well, there's 3 37s actually. There's 3 37s. So 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2. Okay, I see 2 similar tubes. Oh, one is inside that can. 1, 2, and 3. Okay. One of them has a cover on it. So all these tubes are shielded. This thing here is one of the shields. I've got it off, of course. Now, which tube is which? Here we go. So we're trying to find the detector rectifier. Detector rectifier comes right after the 44IF. Not the 44RF. And I still don't feel 100% sure which tube is which. So I think this is the IF one over here. So we need to find a connection between. Oh yeah. So this guy comes down into a coil here. Oh boy. I really didn't need this puzzle. I wish Philco had just done something a little bit different here. Or am I missing something? Yeah, I'm probably missing something. Well, you know what I said before about it doesn't really matter which one's which. If I find them all to be good, then it's a moot point. So let's just carry on. We'll pick one of the 37s. So we'll pick, yeah, that one there where you can't see anything. It's behind this can. Holy smokes. Okay. If you could see me, I'm bobbing around trying to get a view in there. This is the most easiest to reach pin. It shows 0. Now there's no cap on a 37, so one of them is the grid. There's another pin. Shows 0. go. It shows 0. That's quite a few zeros so far. Is my meter working? Yes, it surely is. Okay, now go down to this pin. That's a 0. That's a 0, and it knocks out the sound of the radio. Well, let's see. One of these is a detector. Yeah, one's a detector rectifier, and there really is no voltage on there really is no voltage on it. Is that true? And the grid directly opposite the heaters. So see if I can positively identify the heaters. I can't see my own meter there. I gotta move it over here. Okay, I got 3.8 there. 0 there. Sound disappears there. So 3 there. 0 there. Yeah. Okay, so that would make this. If those two are the heater, this is the plate. I can't stand this guessing here. I gotta come up with something a little more certain. I can't get any visual clues. I noticed the heater wiring in the upper part of the radio is made with these white colored wires, so assuming that's the same stuff going to every tube, I should find some of those in there, but I don't really see them. Well, let's leave that one alone for a moment. It sure doesn't seem to be working right. I won't record any of those voltages yet. This has turned out to be a much more complicated affair than I was really expecting. So that's 137. Let's do the 37 in the can. That's the next tube down. The pins are a little more accessible. Okay, so that's got to be 3.8. So that's one of the heaters there. So set my voltmeter to 1000 volts DC, and let's see what happens here. 32. You know, this radio is one sick puppy. Double check my meter. Yep, it's working fine. Wow, there's a whole section of radio here that's just it's not getting its voltage. 32. Wow, that's not even worth recording these. Really. There's some big problems here. Let's look at the last 37. The last 37 is a little further down in inboard, so that's the 37 there. Pretty sure these are the heaters. That makes this the plate. 130. Grid 2. 0. When I say grid 2, it's really grid. It's really the grid. This is a triode. Plate, cathode, and grid. And you notice you're not hearing a thing in the radio. I've got to kind of wonder now how come there's anything coming out of the speakers. So 130 on the plate. Okay, so we're just going to make a mental note that these are all messed up. Make a mental note, make a paper note, all messed up. Yikes. And you know what? That completes checking the voltages. So I found the output tubes got the right voltages, and that's why the speakers are being driven. Rectifier is producing the B+, which is evident. At the RF tube, unless I got these turned around, the RF tube and the detector oscillator tube are properly supplied. And then we've got 4 tubes in a row. The IF, which is a 44, detector rectifier, detector amplifier, and audio amplifier. All messed up is my note. Okay, what do all these tubes have in common? So I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to stop recording at this point. I have to go and study the schematic and try to see what might be in common with all those tubes, that they'd have no voltage on any of these, on their plates, basically. I think that's it. So that is kind of interesting. A very surprising result. When I listen to the radio work, what I'm thinking in my own mind is it's probably out of alignment. And that's why the signal is so low. And I certainly have worked on radios with very low output, and it all comes up through just alignment of the IF. Many radios, the IF alignment is fine. But sometimes you find them, probably the ones that people have tweaked on their own, are all over the place. But in this case, I'm pretty sure the weakness in this radio is coming from this voltage problem, and I'm just stunned that anything is coming out and it tunes. It floors me. But that also tells me that if we hit these problems and get rid of them, this radio is really gonna sound much better. So I'm looking forward to that. So thanks for watching. Bit of a long video, and we'll see you on the next one.